welcome to another tank review. This time we are looking at a tier 8 French heavy tank, the AMX 5100. The AMX 5100, hands down, it is the best tier 8 tank in World of Tanks. Why? Because it has a great mobility combined with a great burst of damage, which can destroy every tier 8 tank in one magazine. As always, we will start with the armor profile of this machine. There isn't really much to talk about here. As you can see, it is 90 millimeters at the most here, which means that you won't bounce anything really, not even tier 6s, maybe some lucky bounces at this angle, probably some tier 7s and 6s. The only part when you can bounce is this gun mantlet, if they do manage to hit you in the ricochet zones. Since there is only one tier 8 tank, that this tank can be compared to, this T69, I will compare it with that. When we look into the stats, we can see that this tank has huge shell penetration advantage over the T69 at plus 60. The T69 feels useless even against some tier 8s, but this tank can easily pen even tier 10s, if I'm honest. The damage per shell is higher than the one on the T69s by 60 at 300 average damage, whereas the T69 gets 240. The DPM is very similar, but it doesn't really matter since it is an outloader and DPM doesn't come into play here. The reload time is a lot worse. This tank reloads with equipment and prone around 45 seconds, and the T69 can get down to 21, I think, which means that this is a lot trickier to play. But this tank has 6 shells in the magazine, whereas the T69 gets 4, plus combined with the 300 alpha damage means that you have 1800 potential damage in your magazine, which means that every tier 8 can be clipped. When we look into the view range, it at 380 meters it is one of the best in the tier, but not the best. It's sort of average. The T69 beats it with 400, and the camo values are also in the favor of the T69. The accuracy is better at 0.36, whereas the T69 gets 0.38, I think. The aim time is the weakness of this tank, if I'm honest. I mean, at 3 seconds it is certainly not great, if I'm honest, but when you aim between shells for 3 seconds, not 2.73 that it is between the shells, you will find the gun to be quite accurate. As you can see, these stats here are even better on this tank than they are on the T69, but they even though these are all green, the dispersion is quite bad, if I'm honest. I mean, it's not the best in the tier, but it's an outlander and that is to be expected. The elevation and the gun depression are pretty bad. They can cause you trouble, but with careful use of the terrain you will find out that it is certainly manageable. The turret traverse and the tank traverse are pretty bad, but it is still classified as a heavy, so for a heavy it's pretty uh, maneuverable and agile. The power output at 850 is really good with 17.02 horsepower per ton, means that this tank can shift, if I'm honest. The forward traverse, it's almost exactly the same as on the T69 at 51, and these soft stats here are a bit worse than on the 669, but this tank does have a huge horsepower per ton advantage, which means that this thing is even faster than the T69. And at 1400 hit points it does have a health pool advantage over the T69. I do prefer this tank over the other one because of its penetration, because it doesn't rely on gold rounds all that much, and even if we switch to gold at 263, it is still better than on the T69, but this tank fires APCR, whereas the T69 fires hit, which means that the T69 or gets its shells eaten by tracks and that sort of stuff. With all of this being said, let's look into what modules you should use on this machine. As a must, you must use vertical stabilizer. I think it will help with the gun dispersion. A gun laying drive is also pretty viable because you want to always be fully aimed quicker between shells, and for the first shell even. And for a third slot you can either go with improved ventilation or corded optics, whichever suits you the most. I went with improved ventilation. This tank doesn't get set on fire all that much, so a coffee is a viable option if you have enough credits. But for almost everything I use a fire extinguisher, a repair kit, and a med kit for the crew skills. But you for the commander, as a first skill, go with repair, and when you hit 100% drop it for 6 cents. For the gunner, use snapshot, because you want to improve your accuracy on turret traverse, and also for the driver, use smooth right for improved accuracy when on the move. This thing doesn't have a loader, it gets shared by the gunner, commander, and the radio operator. So for the radio operator, I will go with situational awareness. You might want to drop it, even though I haven't. You might drop that for safe storage when it comes. A brothers and MCs, always a viable option, and as on every tank really, repairs is a must. During this review I will put out 2 replays, one with it being completely stock with this 90mm gun. The 90mm is okay with okay penetration, which means that this tank can always bounce, can be a viable. It isn't useless even when it's stock. Let's look into that again first when I am stocking it, and the second one will be when this tank is fully upgraded. And here is the first game of this review. In this game I am fully stocked with this tank. It's a tier 9 battle on Lakeville. this kind of a matchup is sort of okay for this tank. I mean, it doesn't struggle with penetration or anything. Plus the tier 9s are okay in their team, but they can be dealt with. The T-54 might be a problem. I don't know why, but this a 3090 doesn't want to go into that bush right in front of me and just spot, but I cannot do anything about it. I do spot with an IS-3. I do fire one time, and I do spot the T-34 here, and I do put one side shot into him. The KV-3 stops behind that building. He doesn't want to get shot, but this IS is here, and I do put one shot into him as well. Now that the game has sort of in its early stages, I do go for a reload with this gun. As you can see, the reload is a bit shorter. It's quite a lot shorter, but that's fine by me. And I still want to see if anybody wants to come to this alleyway. I can always just fall back behind this ridge here. And now that I am fully loaded, I do spot this T-34 right here, and I do manage to put one shot into him. I track him. That was a blind shot by him, but it missed, and I do take him out. I see that the KV-3 was moving up, but I did not have any shots on him. I should have been quicker with the saving of my AMX 5120, but it's kind of unfortunate. At this point he will die, and I kind of a tunnel vision about this T-54, and he does get my side and puts a shot into me. I do go for the reload and fall back at this point. I don't want to fuck with anybody, and I don't know, our tank destroyers should have just moved up here, especially the Force and the Yak Tiger. They do have the armor to bounce quite a lot of shells at distance, so I don't know, I'm still here all alone. I still desperately need help, but that is that. I am loaded with a full clip, which is very good news for me, and I will try to spot somebody if they come here. I do spot the T-54 modification 1, that's the new premium tank, and I fall back with my gun facing him. I do fire once, maybe that was a mistake, but luckily I do manage to fall back without taking any damage. Maybe that was a silly mistake going up there, but that is that. I was lucky, nobody shot me. I do get spotted once more, even though they are focusing the city at the moment. They can still turn and shoot me. I am papered in. I do see the roof of this 54. The first one misses. I will aim all my shots completely from now on. When he took that shot, he fell back, and since I did have only 3 shells and my reload is pretty okay with this gun, I do go for a reload. I do want to have that full burst if they try to rush, but they still, if they decide to do it, they will still have to go through the T-25-2 and the ISU. That will take some time, and that will be enough for me to reload completely. The AMX 3090 is still focusing down these 2 guys here, but he gets taken out because he wasn't a very good player, if I'm honest. I do spot this before, put one into his roof and another one, but the second one was really lucky, without aim even. the waffle comes in, he does have the 150 mil gun, which is very bad use for me. He will pen if he shoots, and I go for the reload even though I did have one shot. Now I do say to my team that I need help here to my TDs. They are held down, they can hold them off while I reload. I decided to load a full APCR clip for the T-54 because I don't want to fuck with him. But the game is pretty much won by my next clip. I will have to penetrate every shot that I fire, and now that I am reloaded, I will prioritize the battle first. He did shot, so that meant I can do this. Unfortunately, always on a killing shot I do low roll, and I do have 2 more shots. I will put them in this T-54 and I fall back, and with that clip I put a lot of pressure on the enemy. I fully used my clip, which meant that was a lot of damage, and that was the turnaround we needed at this point. Now that I am on this reload, I will try to flank around. The ISU is still not even spotted. That is my biggest worry. I mean, if he comes right here, he will derp me in the face and I will die. So I am worried about him. At the moment, he wasn't even spotted the whole game. I don't know where he is camping, but that's that. If the T-54, the tier 8 one is here, I can take him out easily, if I'm honest. And I do get spotted from somewhere. It was that ISU, but the ISU decided that it was a great idea to go AFK. That is fine by me, if I'm honest. I will fully aim my shots. I do put one in. That's the same one, even though he was unspotted, but hit there. And even though I do low roll, that is fine by me. Now that I am on the reload, and I saw that the RT, actually I didn't saw that the RT focused down our Tiger 1, and I do hesitate for a moment here. I am reloading, and I do spot the RT, and because it's RT, you can do whatever you want, really. And it just takes me in the face, no problem at all. But that is RT in World of Tanks. The Foch will take care of the IS-6, and the T-54 will take care of our FV. And with that, I think it's time to get into the post-battle results. And here are the post-battle results of that game. I will mention again that I was completely stuck in that game. As you can see, I got Ace Tanker with some token. I got High Caliber along with Tank Sniper from the Battle Hero medals. When we look into the team score, we can see that we did 4.8k damage, which is great for a tier 8 tank. We did manage to get 3 kills with 1.4k base experience. When we look into the detailed report, we can see that we did fire 28 shots, 25 hit and 22 penetrated, which showcases the great gun capabilities even of the tier, even of the 90 mil gun. We did do 4.8k damage, as I said, and 2.1 were at a distance of 300 meters. Most of this was on the ISU, and those heavies we managed to put side shots in as they make their way into the city. We did receive 5 hits, 4 penetrated, which is showing the bad armor of this tank, but this thing isn't about the armor, as I said before. We did spot only 2 vehicles this game. We damaged 8 and destroyed 3 with 813 damage upon detecting. With that being said, let's get into the second game. And here is the game I had in this tank. It's a standard battle on secret line. I am a bottom tier in this matchup, but I don't think that will be a problem, because they do have only 2 tier 10s and 2 tier 9s with 1 arty, which is not really worrying. And as I said, this tank has huge potential, and if used properly, even this matchup isn't a problem for it. The position that you see me use here is pretty okay. I mean, sometimes it does backfire on you if you have no backup from your team, but most of the time it works just fine. I do get spotted there. I don't know what spotted me there at first. I do try to go in this position, since it's really okay to counter that side scraping position that you see over there. And yes, he spots me, but I don't want to trade with him. I want him to fire at someone so that I can empty my mag easily. Now I do have a window of opportunity, but I fuck up quite badly with the gun depression. I didn't use the terrain properly. The RT fires, but that's okay. It only splashes me a bit. I do have shots on his side. Assessing my fire, he uses his fire extinguisher. I do have shots on his blow pit, and I have the penetration to fire again, even though I bounced my last shot. It was enough to take him out in 1 magazine, which means that a tier 8 just annihilated tier 10, and I'm not sure that any other tier 8 can say that about itself. Maybe RT, but that is just broken, and let's not get into that, if I'm honest. Since I'm on the reload, I just try to look out after myself. I don't want to be spotted at all. The E100 does a nice job of protecting me, if I'm honest. Since now I am loaded, I will search for another victim of mine, because I just want to empty my clip into 1 tank and to deal with him quickly. I do spot a tiger and an IS-3. I do have shots on the tiger, and I do take him out. That was an easy shot. He was presenting me his lower plate. I see that our T-32 is in quite out of trouble, and he will die, but I do spot the STB. My first shot bounces. It wasn't painful, but my second one hits, and the third one hits. I do have shots to kill him, but somehow I bounce, and my last one connects, but it wasn't enough to kill him. But luckily the E100 picks him up, and as you saw there, that this tank dealt easily with 2 tier 10s because it has the clipping potential. If you manage to make yourself not the primary target, you will always do a lot of damage in all autoloaders really, but especially in this tank. I saw that the base was sort of under attack, and I decided to go back. I did saw that there was an a 3090, but I wasn't loaded, so I could not shot him. The LTTB is camping in those bushes there by the bunker. He spots me again, and I do not want to go at him. I do not want to use all my health at this point. I do. Someone spots the T32. He was nearly full health, and I do have shots on the LTTB. I aim at him. I fire once, and he gets taken out by the T-5041. Now I did see that this 32 is all alone now, and that means that I can use my gun to great effect. If I die here, I don't care. I just want to do more damage, which is what I'm doing. And it's up my ass, but that isn't really a worry. I just want to make sure that this shot will be okay, and that's half damage. Even though I die, I think I did okay. With this, I think it's time to get into the post-battle results. Here we are in the post-battle results for the second game. It was a very good game for us. Ace tanker with picking up some tokens and high caliber. This high caliber means a lot since we were the bottom tier in this game and we had to do a lot more damage to get it. When we look into the team score, you can see that we did manage to come out on top in damage done with 5k with 3 kills and almost 1500 base experience. In that game we fired 18 shots, 17 of them hit and only 15 penetrated. That bounce on the STB-1 was one of them, and I think the other one was on the IS-7. We did do 5k damage. As I said, we weren't sniping in this game at all. Maybe on that LTTB, that one shot we had here, that's that one. As in the previous game, in this game also we did receive 7 hits, 6 penetrated, which means that this tank cannot bounce anything. And we even blocked one shot with 490. That was in the gun mounted by the IS-7. That was quite unfortunate for him, but we got lucky. We did damage only 6 vehicles, but from those that we damaged, we sort of clipped them and used our full clip into them, which means that we did quite a lot of damage to one vehicle, and we destroyed 3. We did only 4,300 damage upon spotting. With those games, guys, I hope that you saw the full potential of the AMX 50-100. I mean, it has a great potential. It doesn't allow any mistakes, and if used correctly, it can single-handedly change the outcome of the game. With that being said, this review is over. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now.